Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching OneMindSyndicate. Today we continue talking about chaplains as we get into Asmodai. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day, and don't forget to hit the little bell notification icon to stay subscribed. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It's because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support. With that said, let's get into 40 facts on Interrogator Chaplain Asmodai. Asmodai is the Master Interrogator Chaplain of the Dark Angel Space Marine chapter. He is the most sinister of the Dark Angels and is the chapter's oldest and most successful Interrogator Chaplain. The older he gets, the more his obsession grows. Asmodai has become one of the living embodiments of duty, openly disdaining all that does not pertain to battle, the goal of the chapter, and ultimately to the secret hunt for the fallen that drives him. His story begins in Tactical Squad Ishmael of the 8th Company. He was a well-regarded but unremarkable warrior. When the Makarian heresy was in full flow, with dozens of Imperial star systems in revolt, Asmodai was numbered amongst the 70 Dark Angels, tasked with the suppression of a rebellious hive moon orbiting the world of Seti Albes. The task force landed upon Hive Moon Sigma without any confrontation, but upon entering the upper reaches of the mine cities delved into the moon's rock, they encountered swift and stern resistance. The populace, estimated to be several millions in number, had been roused by some unknown demagogue to overthrow the rule of the planet below. Many of them armed with little more than last picks and rock claws, the laborers of Hive Moon Sigma were nevertheless fervent and fearless in their attack against the Dark Angels. Veteran Sergeant Elijah, commanding the punitive forces, quickly realized that while 70 Space Marines might eventually inflict enough casualties to break the will of the mutineers, it would take far too long. Dozens of worlds in the neighboring system were breaking from the Imperium following the collapse of the Macarius Crusade. The Dark Angels needed to swiftly locate and eliminate the ringleaders if the rebellion was to be halted in time to confer a strategic advantage. Taking prisoners from amongst the worker gangs that assailed their position, the Dark Angels elicited such information as the rebels could reveal. Brother Asmodai proved at this occasion to have a talent of exerting pain and influence in equal measure, and it was from this questioning of a cell leader that the Dark Angels learned of the existence of the headquarters of the rebellion in the lower hive. They also had a name attached to the firebrand rebel commander, Malvin Rimmel. The expedition into the hive depths was costly. The hive city extended 5 kilometers beneath the surface, and every level was contested bloodily by miners and their families, who had been led to believe that the Dark Angels had arrived to destroy their world. During 2 solar days of non-stop fighting, the Dark Angels slaughtered a path to within reach of the headquarters, but had lost nearly a third of their numbers. Breaching the rebel stronghold, Asmodai and the rest of the force were met by the most fanatical of Rammel's followers. These were the most able and devoted 100 strong. Some of these die-hard renegades drove ore grinders armored with metal plates and armed with powerful las cutters, plunging directly into the Dark Angels without relent or fear. Others fought with hydraulic-powered lifting suits, stronger even than a Space Marine, fitted with plasma burners, whirling chain blades, and energy hammers capable of cracking open power armor. It was too late for the task force to withdraw, and with tens of thousands of hive workers close on their heel, Elijah ordered his Dark Angels to press on, though only 30 of them now remained. Asmodai was one of the first to break into Rammel's inner sanctum. What he found there would shape the rest of his life. He was astounded to discover that Malvin Rimmel was another Space Marine. Worse still, he had been a Dark Angel long ago, but now he was one of the fallen. The ancient warrior cut down Elijah with 3 strikes from his power sword and crippled Asmodai with a lancing blow through the Space Marine's thigh. As more Dark Angels poured through the breach, Rimmel retreated under the cover of prepared melta-bomb explosions, collapsing part of the ceiling upon the pursuers. The surviving Dark Angels had no chance to follow, as they came under repeated attack from Rammel's followers. Minutes later, they received a transmission from the warship in orbit. The crew had registered a huge energy spike in the reactor chain powering the hive moon. Rimmel had set the plasma generator to overload to cover his escape. There was no option but to withdraw. Limping badly, Asmodai fought his way through the hive levels with the other survivors, racing against time to elude the hive moon's destruction. Incensed by the treachery of Rommel, Asmodai fought with a rage he had never felt before. Even wounded, he gunned down and hacked his way through the press of rebels that came upon him. One by one, the other Dark Angels fell, yet Asmodai was so possessed by his ire that he alone made it back to the surface. Returning to the ship, the Battle Brother learned that a craft had been detected leaving Hive Moon Sigma, but the raiding strike vessel had lost its power signature amongst the many orbiting platforms and colonies. As the Dark Angel's warship powered away from orbit, Hive Moon Sigma destroyed itself, killing millions instantly, and dooming millions more as debris showered down on Ceti Albus. When Asmodai's superiors learned of his exploits, there was no option but to induct him into the higher echelons of the chapter. He declined invitation to the Ravenwing and the Deathwing companies, and instead demanded that he be initiated as a chaplain. When his induction was finally complete, as he finished his oath of dedication to the hunt, Asmodai added his own vow. He would find Rommel and make him repent, or he would die in the attempt. It is an undertaking that he has yet to fulfill. Asmodai was soon elevated to the position of Interrogator Chaplain, having shown more desire to bring the fallen to justice than to lead the warriors of his chapter. With a determination that shamed others much his senior, Asmodai accompanied the Deathwing on any expedition that might bring rumors of his quarry. It was this dedication that saw Asmodai capture his first fallen Dark Angel. His name was Cephasus, and though Asmodai turned his considerable skills of coercion upon him, he died without repenting his treacheries. Frustrated, Asmodai became even more active and devoted, going to the extraordinary lengths and risking himself and his warriors in extreme situations to capture his prey. He took captive 3 more fallen over the next 25 standard years. Still none would renounce their past heresies, and Asmodai's superiors feared for the chaplain, whose fever was verging on self-destructive. In an attempt to appease Asmodai's desperation, they granted him access to Mabon, a fallen who had been captured before Asmodai's rise, who had stubbornly refused to die or confess. For 18 solar days without rest, the chaplain interrogated Mabon, inflicting hurt without measure and hurting him constantly. Where others had failed, Asmodai finally succeeded, breaking Mabon's spirit after 129 hours of unrelenting torment when 30 standard years of efforts by others had failed. Mabon pleaded for forgiveness and repented every action he had committed against the Lion and the Emperor. It is said that these words elicited a satisfactory smile from the Interrogator Chaplain, an expression that has been repeated only once when Asmodai drew forth the repentance of the fallen Gainiel. In his quest to bring every fallen to answer for their heresies, Asmodai has frequently stretched the patience of others in the Dark Angel's inner circle. The Supreme Grand Master has censured him often for his zealotry, and has been forced on numerous occasions to move swiftly to protect the chapter's reputation or cover up the Interrogator Chaplain's actions. It was Asmodai that gave the orders for the battle barge Spear of Truth to open fire on the city of Hestengard, driving the fallen angel Sark Andor out of hiding and into the wilds, where he was located by the Ravenwing and taken prisoner during the Deathwing's teleported assault. When challenged on 50,000 deaths that the bombardment had caused, Asmodai told Azrael, "Better 50,000 innocents die than one traitor escape justice." Azrael did not take kindly to this, and in rebuke withdrew the chaplain's command status for 3 standard years, sentencing him to serve under the Master of Recruits in the 10th Company, so that he might learn some humility. The punishment lasted only 6 solar months, ending when the captain of the 10th Company revealed that Asmodai had demanded the execution of every scout drawn from the world of Narsium, accusing a whole generation of being gene-tainted due to their tardiness in answering the questions during instructions. It was also Asmodai who, upon hearing laughter in the halls of the Rock, placed a penance of silence upon the 7th Company for a standard Terran year. The company was unable to utter sound except for hymns or in-battle communication. Like any Adeptus Astartes chaplain, Asmodai chants the liturgies of battle, preaching the purity of hate to help each Dark Angel focus his rage and become a better killing machine. In combat, Asmodai further exemplifies his zeal, inciting the fighting spirit of his battle brothers to a fever pitch. It was Asmodai who led the Forlorn Hope to break into the traitor of Rune's palace and who inspired the impressive stand when his forces were isolated on the demon world of Amity. This and similar episodes have not softened Asmodai's approach in the slightest. He has made enemies of countless Imperial servants of all ranks, attracted the unwelcome attention of the Inquisition, and even brought the Dark Angels to the brink of war with several other Space Marine chapters. Most perilous of these latter events follow a foray into the Narthex Nebula that saw the Dark Angels fighting alongside the companies from the Silver Eagles chapter to cleanse several Imperial worlds from Orc enslavement. The campaign began well, with 4 planets liberated in the first year. During the joint attack on the 5th system, Calva Signoris, Asmodai heard word of a remarkable warrior leading the resistance against the Orc oppressors. Asmodai took command of the Dark Angel force, usurping Master Charon with threats of censure when the company captain protested. Abandoning the offensive against the Orc-held capital, Asmodai led the Dark Angels against the resistant encampment, killing everyone they found. The remarkable warrior was not one of the fallen, and turned out instead to be an Inquisitor of the Ordo Xenos who had been on Calv Signoris to warn of Orc aggression when the Greenskins had attacked. Meanwhile, the Silver Eagles had been surrounded, their flank left unprotected by the Dark Angel's absence, and half of them had been slain. Master Charon reasserted his command and led the force on a desperate counterattack to relieve the beleaguered Space Marines, arriving in time to assist the last 190 warriors. The matter might have ended there had it not been for the Inquisitor returning to the Silver Eagles' homeworld with the devastated companies, informing their chapter master of what had happened and requesting that the Silver Eagles assist him in chastising the Dark Angels for their behavior. Understandably reluctant to declare war on the First Legion of an ancient fame, Chapter Master Periphas first sent emissaries to the Rock to ask for an explanation. Azrael himself was forced to attend Periphas' demands, taking him away from the Tower of Angels for a considerable time. Meanwhile, during Azrael's absence, Asmodai was restricted to his chambers in the chapel. On his return, the Supreme Grand Master asked if Asmodai had any regret over what had happened, to which the chaplain replied that he regretted not killing the Inquisitor when he had the chance. For all the ill caused to the Dark Angels by Asmodai's uncompromising manner, his zeal also brings success. Whether by example or not, the Master Interrogator Chaplain has turned defeat into victory on numerous occasions. His utter contempt for anything other than total dedication ensures that the commanders fighting alongside him apply themselves with nothing less than absolute fidelity. Space Marines may know no fear caused by the enemy, but the Dark Angels perhaps fear rebuke from Asmodai, dreading his wrath far more than death in battle. At Skarn's Bluff, when the Dark Angels' 5th Company found themselves with their backs to a mile-high cliff following a counterattack by a warband of World Eaters, it was Asmodai that led the breakout. He concluded the battle by chopping off the head of the warband's Chaos Champion with the traitor's own chain axe. Again and again, Asmodai has proven to be the unstoppable force needed to break the enemy. He insisted that the Dark Angels respond to the encroachment of High Fleet Leviathan, leading several companies against the Tyranids. He met briefly with Chaplain Cassius of the Ultramarines during this expedition, and said to his contemporary, he knows a lot about killing aliens, which is not a bad thing, one of the few compliments Asmodai has ever paid to anyone. No other Dark Angel exemplifies the phrase, the end justifies the means, more than Asmodai, for in his unquestionable obsession, he is willing to sacrifice anything or anyone to capture another of the fallen, and there is no boundary he will not cross to add another black pearl to his Rosarius. And those were 40 facts on Interrogator Chaplain Asmodai. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to share it with your friends, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, whatever social media you guys use, and thank our patrons on Patreon. It's because of them that we can do this. Now let's announce the winner of the Subscriber Appreciation Giveaway, the Terminator Chaplain Collector's Edition thingy, and the winner is this guy. Simply contact us either here on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. with your explanation. I won the contest, and give us your address, and we will ship this guy out to you. Good luck for everybody that participated but didn't win. Don't forget that we have a couple other giveaways going on right now, so jump on over to those. Good luck on those, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with OneMindSyndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first.